Loops or iterations in C++. There are circumstances when you want to do the same thing many times. For instance, you want to print the same words 10 times. You could type 10 cout statements, but it is easier to use a loop such as a for loop or a while loop. The only thing you have to do is to set up a loop that executes the same cout statement 10 times. There are three basic types of loops, which are for loop, while loop, do while loop. The for loop, the concept of for loop. The for loop loops from one number to another number and increases by a specified value each time. The for loop uses the following structure. The syntax is for, in round brackets we have start value semicolon, end condition semicolon, increase value and round bracket close, and after that comes the set of statements. Semicolon is basically to put three information for the for loop: the initial value, the condition till what time the loop will execute, and increase value tells basically for how much value the loop would increase when it goes to the next iteration. Let us look an example below. Hash include IOStream using namespace std, int main, that is the main function, int I declaring a variable I, starting with the loop for I initial value 0, the condition I less than 10, I plus plus. In the curly braces, starting the loop, cout hello, going to the next line by /n, cout there, again going to the next line by /n, and main function returning 0 value. A single instruction can be placed behind the for loop without the curly brackets, but if there are more than one statement to be executed, then they have to be put in curly brackets. Now let us look at the for loop from the example. We first start by setting the variable I to 0. This is where we start to count. Then we say that the for loop must run if the counter I is smaller than 10. Last, we say that every cycle I must be increased by 1, I plus plus. In the example we have used I plus plus, which is the same as using I equals to I plus 1. This is called incrementing. The instruction I plus plus adds 1 to I. If you want to subtract 1 from I, you can use I minus minus. It is also possible to use plus plus I or minus minus I. The difference is that with plus plus I, the 1 is added before the for loop tests if I is less than 10. With I plus plus, the 1 is added after the test I less than 10. Now coming to the other kind of loop, the while loop. The while loop can be used if you don't know how many times a loop must run. Let us come to an example. Hash include IOStream using namespace std, int main, int counter, comma how much, two variables, cin statement, how much, counter equals to 0, while counter is less than how much, in the body of while loop counter plus plus, cout counter, and move to the next line by /n, return 0. Let's take a look at the example. First, you must always initialize the counter before the while loop starts. Counter equals to 1. Then the while loop will run if the variable counter is smaller than the variable how much. If the input is 10, then 1 through 10 will be printed on the screen. A last thing you have to remember is to increment the counter inside the loop counter plus plus. If you forget this, the loop may become infinite.